think by the end of the year, you'll have stronger prices. I think it's going to be the last quarter of this year. I think it's almost inevitable that there will be some type of black swan event between now and then. Could be, could be grid down in some areas. It could be a computer hack at a money center. It could be another crypto conundrum. There's several things out there. But the main thing is the shift has gone to a pause on the precious metals investors. They're like, I'm happy, I've got enough. I don't need to buy anymore. I'm hedged. I don't need more. And that's the place to be. I mean, I've never advocated 100% in, but I have advocated everybody owns some.
The latest data shows that as of June 22nd, 2023, only 28.8 million ounces of silver were registered on the exchange. It represents a decline from the 32.1 million ounces of silver registered on the COMEX as of June 8, 2023, indicating a decrease of over 10% in registered silver in just over a week. In his recent interview with Liberty and Finance, David Morgan, a precious metals expert and the founder of the Morgan Report, expressed his surprise at the continued decline in registered silver at the COMEX. Morgan believes the decline in registered silver indicates that the silver market is becoming increasingly tight. He expects that the price of silver will eventually rise to reflect this scarcity. However, he also stresses that the silver market is volatile and that prices can fluctuate significantly in the short term. In recent months, there have been several developments that could boost the demand for silver. David Morgan believes that the last quarter of the year will be crucial for the silver market. He expects that higher prices for precious metals will likely follow by the end of the year. However, he also warned that the possibility of a black swan event occurring between now and then could derail the silver market. Such an event could range from a computer hack or grid failure to another crypto-related issue. If such an event were to occur, it could lead to a sharp decline in the price of silver. The Federal Reserve's tightening of monetary policy is a factor that could help drive up the price of silver. As the Fed raises interest rates, it will likely result in a decline in the stock market and other risk assets. This could lead investors to seek safe haven assets like silver, potentially causing an increase in its price. However, regarding the price movements of gold, Morgan believes that it will continue to rise in the years to come. Now let's watch clips from David Morgan's interview with Liberty and Finance. Please make sure to watch the entire video and consider subscribing to our channel. Remember to turn on post notifications so you can see all our uploads. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
I look at the COMEX particularly, and the LBMA to a lesser degree, as being car dealerships that display all the new cars. They're there as a big facility, a big market maker. But yet what they really have is they have silver on display. They don't really facilitate transactions, as you just said, Elijah, and that's key. And so when you start going into the LBMA, or you take silver off the SLV or PSLV or whatever, in other words, if you start taking silver primarily from the LBMA and or the COMEX, that's a last resort. That's the place of last resort. Anyone that's in the silver business, even on the retail side, but particularly on the industrial side, goes direct. They go direct with a refiner or a smelter or somebody that's a direct ship. They don't need to ship a bar to the COMEX to ship it back to, a mint. So there's very little silver that goes on the shelves other than what can only be sold on the spot market. The rest of it's sold in various places, jewelries, and of course, all kinds of industrial applications. So the point is, it's drying up. It's drying up before our eyes. And if they had any way to hide it, they would. They can't. And so they're showing us that, the registered category keeps showing them the way. The thing that's surprising to me, I guess, this time is the last couple of times I recall the 32, 33 million ounces. It was there for a little while, like a few weeks, to the best of my memory, and then it started building back up. But this time it just keeps going down, down, down. I mean, it fluctuates, but mostly the trend is still down. And there doesn't seem to be any influx. So I think between what's needed for the semiconductor industry, what's needed for the solar panel industry, what's needed for the industrial use on aggregate, has got silver in a pretty tight position. And what we really need is another influx of, committed precious metals people to buy. And I think that's coming in a different way than most people do. And I think that's going to be through the advent of the cryptocurrency world. There's a lot of silver and gold backed cryptos out there, and there'll be more. And I think the only issue that's holding it back now is awareness. I think the awareness of gold is the ultimate stable coin. I mean, think about it. An ounce of gold is the same mass anywhere in the universe. That's stability. The US dollar, which is what's called a stable coin on most of these platforms, it's a fiat currency that's going downhill over time. So if you want a standard, if you really want a stable something, that's what your stable coin would be. And that's kind of ironic because we talk about coin. And of course, gold is considered, a lot of coinage in gold. So there's a lot ahead of us. And I think a lot of it is not only to be determined, but I think a lot of the powers that be that are kind of smug and arrogant on, where they're going to push the next system, maybe a little ahead of themselves because there is a lot of resistance to what's happening.
A stronger dollar with higher yields would attract more participants and support the continuation of the economic game. This is because a stronger dollar makes U.S. assets more attractive to foreign investors. Additionally, a stronger dollar can help to reduce inflation by making imported goods less expensive. However, Morgan highlights that a scenario of returning to a zero interest rate policy is unlikely, but not completely ruled out. This is because the Federal Reserve is facing a difficult balancing act. On the one hand, it needs to raise interest rates in order to combat inflation. On the other hand, it does not want to raise rates so high that it triggers a recession. Morgan believes that the Fed is likely to continue to raise interest rates in the near term. However, he also expects that the Fed may be forced to pause or reverse course if the economy weakens. Let's get back to the interview.
In the U.S., since we are the debt capital of the world, all that debt has to be paid back in dollars. So if the dollar costs more, meaning the yield is high, then there's more perceived value to it. More people are willing to participate and continue the game. So if we went back to zero rate interest rate policy, which I highly doubt, but I won't rule it out completely, I think that's where you'd see the dollar break. What I mean by dollar break, it's that at that point, you'd have to be almost undereducated about money at any level to understand that now we're telling you zero interest rates, money's not worth anything. It has no value. It's zero interest rate. And therefore, it's trying to bail out of the dollar and get into something else. That's not a scenario I actually see happening. I think you're going to see more of this Fed Now program that's operated in July, just a couple of weeks away. It's bank to bank. It won't be individual to bank, but it could be a precursor. Some say yes, some say no. I read it. I couldn't make a strong case that it's a precursor to the, direct payment method through the Fed, but it will definitely speed up transactions bank to bank. So we're in uncharted waters, as you and I have talked about for years and years and years. The metals are still a safe haven, but in my darker moments, I think, how well have they done? And, it depends by what metric to use. I mean, when I started the silver investor, silver was under $5. Inflation adjusted low on a historical basis. It was the lowest price for silver in all of recorded history. So certainly I did my best to get people in low. Not many people came on board. Yes, you remember Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, George Soros, all the billionaire class. They were in the silver market when no one else wanted it, but the millionaire class hadn't really caught on to the story yet. So coming forward, I'm probably going a little longer than you wanted. I think that there will continue to be pressure to the metals. And you asked me earlier, so I'll just take the question in my head is, what I expect short term. And really a lot of my, again, peers are looking for an explosion. I've been looking for an explosion that, at some point. But I do think there's enough metal in the system, even though it's 99% derivatives, to keep the lid on it for another few months. We hit a 3-week low in gold. Gold's off today as we're talking. Silver's at a 2-week low. It's off almost. They're going higher if interest rates go up. They're going higher if interest rates go down. They're going higher if interest rates just pause and stay paused for a long time. The metals are the only way out at the end game. I mean, there's exceptions. I mean, there's certain businesses and there's foodstuffs, and there's other things. But when it comes to on the financial or monetary side, it gets to be one place to run. And that's run out of stocks, run out of bonds, run out of, limited partnerships, run out of ETFs, and run into the metal. And that won't happen to the level that it happened in the past as far as awareness. I think there's a lot more awareness in my generation of why people run into metals. They understood fiat collapses, currency collapses.
The silver market is becoming increasingly tight as the demand for silver is growing from both industrial and investment users. This is evidenced by the fact that registered silver levels at the COMEX have hit a record low. If this trend continues, it could lead to a sharp rise in the price of silver in the future. What are your thoughts on the interview? Do you think the price of silver will rise significantly in the coming years? Share your thoughts and observations in the comments section below. If you found this video helpful, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our latest videos about silver, gold, and copper. Thank you for watching.